What is going on YouTube? We're back with another video. Now, if you haven't already seen my previous two videos, my name is Jake, welcome. I'm an online body transformation coach based here at Tribe Fitness Centre in the UK. Now, the main purpose, or my main purpose now, is to give lads 20 to 40 the best transformation of their life, and in some cases take them to the bodybuilding stage. But there is obviously way more to that than just what I'm doing now. I have got a history, I have got a backstory, so I might as well share that with you guys. You get a bit more of a feel as to who I am and where I've come from and my background. It might help influence your decision to come on board for coaching. It might just be extremely interesting to you. So we're basically just going to go on a 15-20 minute spiel as to how I've ended up here at Tribe as a coach. Now, to begin with, I'm going to take you guys all the way back to 2017, which, to be fair, doesn't seem like that long ago, but you think it's been almost a decade, and holy shit, time is flying by. 15-year-old Jake, secondary school, really bad social anxiety, really bad confidence. Now, the one thing that I wanted to do back then was be fit, but also be jacked. And because of that, I was extremely vain. I had a really bad attitude, and I was arrogant as fuck. Yeah, I was arrogant as fuck. And because I had this drive to get big and to get jacked and to be like all these guys that I saw on Instagram, the Joe Aesthetics, the, even C-Bum at the time as well, the bodybuilders during that era, the fitness influencers before fitness influencing became a thing. I wanted to be exactly like those guys, so I thought I needed to join a gym. So I did. I joined my local gym, if you can call it a gym. It was basically a room full of cardio equipment and the odd free weights here and there. And I threw myself into an environment which made me shit scared, but also extremely excited. Now, my main drive, really, for joining the gym was I had a girlfriend when I was 14. And I asked her once, I said, what is one thing that you find really attractive? I was basically trapping myself. And she said, I like a guy with pecs. And I couldn't have been more flat-chested if I tried. It was like an ironing board on steroids. Pardon the pun, but it was. I was extremely flat-chested. I had no muscle. I was like pure skin and bone. So in response to that, I went to the gym and I just hammered chest like 4 days in a row, which got me some gains. But when I was 15, I had very little knowledge to nutrition, to the perfect split, what stimulus would be better for my body, what workout structure would be better for my body. So I was always on the scale of making progress to plateauing to making progress, etc. Fast forward a year from joining that gym, and I joined my very first private gym. This was a massive eye-opener, not only because I was in an environment with more free weights, more machines, more lifting focus, but it was also, without realizing, my introduction to PEDs and bodybuilding. I didn't have a passion for bodybuilding at the time. I had barely read into it. I had barely watched any videos online. I didn't really know what it was about. But watching these guys in the gym gave me a bit of an insight. So I pushed a little bit harder and I got tips here and there from some of the guys in the gym, and I made a little bit more progress. Now, we've gone through secondary school. We're now in college. Lockdowns hit, as it did for everyone else in the UK. So growth stunted, and the gym was a no-go. So I resorted to home workouts with the very little free weights I had and almost maintained my physique. So at this point, I'm learning more about nutrition. I'm focusing more on maintaining my weight and my muscle mass. I'm watching more of the Brian Shaws, the Eddie Halls, more of the other fitness influencers that were coming through during that period of time. And I was starting to grow, and I was starting to make progress. And then the gyms reopened. The gyms have reopened. At this point, I've finished college. It's time for the real world. It's time to think of what I'm going to do as a career. And for the next 6 months to a year, I was staying consistent with the gym, but I was bouncing around jobs like it was no one's business. 1 minute I'm in the kitchen, the next minute I'm not. 1 minute I'm back in the kitchen, and the cycle continued for some time. I was also going through a relationship which was going to end. It was. I should have seen it from a mile away, but it was going to end, and eventually it did. Now, I was pretty lost at this point in the gym. I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was cutting, I didn't know if I was bulking, I didn't know if I was, powerlifting. And then one of my old friends from primary school, who I saw in secondary school, she reached out to me and she said, what are you doing in the gym? And I said, well, fuck knows, I have no idea. She then recommended that I do bodybuilding. Now at the time I was like, why the fuck would I do bodybuilding? I'm not big enough. I'm like a skinny kid still. I'm like, late teens and I still have barely any muscle on me for what I expected anyway for bodybuilding. She then hooked me up with her coach, who is now still my coach, Lewis, who you will probably see on a lot of these videos. And then the conversation started. What do you want to get out of me for coaching? And I said, well, I'd be interested in going down the bodybuilding ring. He said, cool, sweet, I'll set you up. Just like that, we were set up, we were in off season, we were gaining muscle like it was no one's business. I was still lost within my career and what I wanted to do, but the gym had never been as big of a passion as it was during that period of time. Off-season smashed, I was about 215 pounds. I was then going into my prep, which lasted about 16 weeks. And the joyous thing about prep is that it teaches you so much more about mental capacity as well as physical capacity. But we will probably touch on that in another video. During prep, this is when my knowledge of nutrition, of workouts, it really started to absorb. I was showing way more interest. I was asking my coach questions all the time. I was saying, do I look good enough? How many weeks are we out? Why are we making X, Y, and Z changes? I was starting to get that interest in the gym and the more technical side of things as opposed to just going and training. It is now September 2023. It is the 26th and it is show day. And I shit you not, prep went like that. It absolutely flew by. Before I knew it, I was 215 pounds and now 175 pounds lean on stage, tanned up, posing in front of like 100 plus people, doing something that was so far out of my comfort zone in comparison to the 15-year-old Jake that was even too scared to go to the gym. So the difference is mental. The outcome of that show was I placed 4th out of 14 lads. Fairly confident and happy with my result, but the main idea of that show wasn't to come first or top 3 or even top 7. It was to prove to myself and everyone around me that I was possible and I was capable of so much more than just going to the gym and lifting some weights. Anyone can do that. It takes a lot to go through a bodybuilding prep, the confidence to go on stage and then also show that physique off. But I did anyway, which was great, and it was the best experience of my life. It was amazing. That's when the post-show depression hit. This really shitty, horrible phase after a show where you are lost and you have no idea what you're going to do next. And yes, there are so many doors that you can open and go through, but you almost feel stuck. There's no plan. There's no workout structure. You almost feel like you on your own. But that was my choice, because initially bodybuilding was just going to be a bucket list thing, a box to tick, a picture to take and say, I did a bodybuilding show. About 2 or 4 months after my show, I was still stuck, and at the same time I was also struggling quite a lot with my new job. So I quit. I went back to an old job. I then went back into the gym and had a conversation with my coach and said, look, I am extremely lost as to what I want to do in fitness and bodybuilding, if I even want to do bodybuilding again, and also my career. Like, I am getting absolutely nowhere. I am making peanuts and I don't necessarily enjoy what I do. Yes, there's the odd good day here and there, but it's never consistent. I'm not happy. I need something to challenge myself. I need, a new chapter, a new beginning. And this is when my world went from black and white to color. Because he turned around and he said, why don't you just be a coach? Why don't you just do what I do, but with other young guys? Why don't you get the qualifications, work towards those, and then afterwards you can build a brand, you can build a business, you can work with guys and get them from, A to B, and in some cases, like the stage. And it was this amazing moment where I suddenly felt a purpose and a goal. So I started my qualifications for coaching. I started my Instagram, which is still the same one that I'm using today, the link of which will be in the description. And I just got to work. I did all the coursework, I did all my qualifications, I was posting more often, I was doing my own journey, where I've come from, what I've experienced in the past, basically doing this, but on my Instagram when I first started. And then, unfortunately, I got let go from my job at the time because they realized I was focusing more time on the coaching side of things than I was the work side of things. And instead of turning around and being like, oh, I'll just find another job, it's fine, I thought, well, no, fuck this. I am now going to work my arse off until I become a top coach, until I become one of the best coaches. Obviously, that's going to take some time to get to, and I still have a lot of barriers to go through. But that was the mindset, and it was influenced by my coach as well. He said, why are you going to give up just because one thing's gone wrong? This is now the perfect time to absolutely hoon it and just go ham. So we did, and we went ham. We also started another bodybuilding journey because that spark had reignited, and that passion for bodybuilding and lifting had reignited again. So I thought, if I'm going to be a coach, I need to at least practice what I preach. So I started doing my own bodybuilding transformation again. Now we're working towards Classic. We've got 2 shows coming up in September, which will be vlogged, they will be posted, and they will be cherished even more than the first show. But it's mental to think that a 15-year-old skinny kid with no ambition and no drive and no idea what he wanted to do in his life is now a self-employed coach, helping lads just like himself go through a transformation, just like I've been through, to either change their life or get to the stage or do whatever they want to do in the fitness industry. It's absolutely wild. I'm super, super grateful for the coach that I have, because if it wasn't for him, then I probably wouldn't have the clients I have, and I probably wouldn't have the facility to train in and train my clients in. Not only that, but I have learned so much in such a short period of time that I have just excelled my own coaching business. So it truly is, when I think about it and when I sit down and reflect, it truly has been one hell of a roller coaster, but now we're here. And speaking of now and being here, you have got a lot to look forward to when it comes to this channel. I'm going to be posting day in the lives, week in the lives, educational stuff. I'm going to be doing training videos. I'm going to be doing vlogs about my competitions, sending my clients off to competitions. I'm going to give you a bit more of an insight as to my role as a coach and also my role as an individual. So if you are invested, if you are willing to stick around and stay for the journey, if you are wanting to see average guys go from average to absolutely insane, then hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and of course my Instagram, my TikTok, those links will be in the description, so you can always reach out and message me. But for the time being, yeah, welcome to the channel, welcome to the journey. I am super, super excited. Let's fucking get it.